You're listening to the Sass Says podcast. I'm your host, Christy Rocha, also known as Sass. I identify as a woman, a wife, and a mother. That should tell you a lot already. And over the last few years, I've learned the value of talk therapy. I have seen how my inner work not only enhances my own well-being, but also my marriage, my parenting, my relationships. And in fact, you wouldn't be hearing this right now if it weren't for the work I've done. My mission is to debunk the misconceptions and stigmas around what therapy is and who it's for. Let's normalize working on our mental health and seeking help when needed. We've all heard of self-care, self-help, and self-love, but do you often wonder how to actually make it all happen? I do. You'll hear strategy-based conversations with professionals, as well as inspiring and validating stories from women who are just like you and me. Think of this podcast as the weekly therapy sessions you didn't know you needed, with a dash of sass, a lot of vulnerability, and me, relentlessly asking, but how? Today I'm joined by Linda Fruits, creator of the very popular Instagram account Fruits of Motherhood. I'll tell you more about her in just a minute, but after listening to our conversation, I think it's worth sharing some context. You will hear that throughout much of the first 15 minutes or so, we seem to be downright giddy. We recorded late on a Friday night, Linda having had a rare day off from her kids, and me having had a particularly rough one with mine. We get it together eventually for what I think is a deeply meaningful conversation, but you will hear that I left one of those silly moments in the show. I edited a few others out where, for seemingly no reason at all, we both just burst out laughing, lose our train of thought, at one point just start cursing freely, which I'm making an active effort not to do on the show. But I think it's important to share some of the realities of what it's like for hustling moms. We have to learn to turn off the part of our brain that is constantly spinning with the mental load of motherhood. And I have to attribute our release of energy and silliness to that moment I find many moms have on a Friday night. On one hand, you're happy it's Friday. You've made it to the weekend, and for most of your life, that's been a great feeling. You can't help but feel the giddiness that you've always felt. But you also know that you're only 12 hours away from a weekend with your kids. The weekends for moms can be more tiring and definitely take more energy and effort than the weekdays. And it felt like we were right in that sweet spot of, isn't this great? It's Friday. But also very aware of the days ahead. Anyway, I kind of feel like Linda is my spirit animal. We both have 2 kids. Each set of kids were born within a month of each other. She and I are the same age. And we've had very similar experiences with motherhood and share a lot of the same philosophies. In addition to her Instagram account, Linda has a podcast, a blog, an Etsy shop, and is also a very talented graphic designer. On today's show, we talk about postpartum anxiety and depression, how the births of our second children changed us as mothers, Linda's transition from being a full-time stay-at-home mom to putting her children in daycare, the pressures new moms face today, and of course, her online community of down-to-earth mommies. Make sure to tune in after the show for my final thoughts. Hey, Linda. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi.
We're just sort of ranting and venting about our day. Mostly me, but here we are.
It's because some days I have a day and some days you have a day. I actually got a break today, so I
know I saw you got your hair did.
I
It
did.
looks good.
Thank you. Yeah, I haven't got my hair done in a year.
Oh my goodness.
So this was a treat for me. My mom had my
Yeah.
kids today, so there was no worrying.
Love it.
It was nice.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, speaking of our kids, off the bat, I know that we both want to just let everyone know that we love them. Anything we're about to say is not personal. Our husbands, too, we might as well throw them in there because I'm sure they're going to come up. And we're very grateful for what we have in our life.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And in my last blog post, I said like, and now is where I have to say I love my kids so I don't sound like a crazy person.
Yeah. I mean, you'd think people would just know by now, but apparently that's still something that we need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always
So,
one to say, well,
I know. And there's some days where maybe yesterday I would have patience for that person, but today I'd be like, nah, no, thank you.
I know what you mean. Some days it's just you could sweep it under the rug, and then other days you're like, set it on fire.
I am setting everything on fire today. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm going to take a breath. But anyway, fruits of motherhood. Take me back. How did it start? What prompted this? What was your inspiration? Tell me about it.
I had a baby, and then I wondered to myself, what did I do? Like, am I the only one who feels this way? Did I just ruin my life? Like, okay, it can't be so bad. Like, I see people have multiple children. Like, obviously, people willingly do this again. So it's going to get better.
Yeah.
And, being stuck at home as like most moms are, I was like, oh, well, my younger sister had a spam account, which is like what these kids do these days. And where they just like they take all these pictures. There's no pressure. Like they do whatever on it because Instagram has a lot of pressure, social pressure.
Interesting.
And so I was like, oh, I'm going to start a mom spam account. And I was like, I'll just write my feelings. And then little did I know there was a couple accounts already doing this. And I just went with it. It took me a while to find my own voice. And, 3.5 years later, here I am.
Yeah. Well, and it took you a little bit to put your face to your account as well, correct?
So in the beginning, it was actually Mom Gang because my mom friends and I, that's what we called each other. And little did I know that it was trademarked. So there was a catalyst where I had to change the name, and I wanted to use fruits because of my last name. It's a nice icebreaker. People think that it's like made up. I'm like, it's not a stage name. It's legit. I was born and bred with this name, so let me take it.
Yeah.
And so Fruits of Motherhood was born.
How does it feel to now be a public figure and to go viral and to be someone that everyone in my world knows? I mean, you're like a celebrity in my world, in the mom world.
That's, pretty damn cool because I don't feel like that. I have to say, like, I had like a video get 1 million views and I thought my life was going to change. I thought that people were going to be stopping me in the streets, and no, that's not the case, apparently.
You're not going to be on like the next episode of Cribs or something?
Like, I was hoping so, but apparently like MTV is not a thing anymore, so.
Right, my God. Just aged myself.
No, but me too. I mean, at TRL, are you kidding me? Like every day of my life. But I just genuinely want to give back to like what moms need. Like that's just the whole point for me. And so when people tell me, like, I've had like a couple people notice me before in my neighborhood because obviously they like know I live in Plantation.
They're looking for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was so shocked and almost embarrassed for myself. Like genuinely embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh. So like, you know me. You know me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, did it feel like embarrassed, but also judgment? Like almost like wanting to explain yourself, or are you totally chill?
Totally chill. Like I was like, okay, cool. Like, okay, they literally know my every thought. Like they know me. Like, it's like, and I guess like if you think of like fashion bloggers, for example, like obviously their personality is out there and there's all these stories and videos and stuff now, but like before, it's like you didn't know them, but nowadays it's like your whole persona is online. And yeah.
Have you experienced any negativity in being out there with all of your thoughts? Of course.
Yeah, especially more in the beginning. I will say, like you mentioned earlier about me putting my face on the account. So after I I started putting my face out there because I was like, you know what? Okay, I don't remember how many followers I had at the time, but I was like 50,000. Okay, fine. I'll claim it. It's me.
Okay. All right.
I was like, all
Yeah.
right. And I think I might have already had Fruits of Motherhood as the name. I can't really remember. It all kind of happened within a couple months of each other. And so,
Mm-hmm.
um, I, oh, what was the question? Oh my gosh.
I like, what is wrong?
It's that, and my period just ended. And I swear, like, ever since I got the shot, I'm a hot mess. Like, I don't know
Really?
who I am. Yeah.
I didn't feel like as much of a hot mess like 15 minutes ago. I thought I like showered it off or something, and apparently not.
It's just the universe. Some days are like that. My
Uh,
husband's having a hard day too. So I think it's just,
mm.
it's together. But what was the question?
I was asking you about negativity and backlash
Oh,
on your account.
oh, yeah. So since I started putting my face on the account and kind of making these videos and stuff, people have definitely laid off the negativity. I think they understand where I'm coming from,
Mm,
why I'm doing this. Like, I don't get as nearly as much judgment as I did in the beginning because it's really easy to misconstrue what people are thinking or saying.
mm-hmm.
And without a full disclosure and like every, you know, paragraphs of explanation, which I know some moms who do that on Instagram because they have to,
Yeah.
um, but recently it's very far and few between, or I just don't read the comments. Like, I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's probably easier for those who choose to write negative things, or it's probably easier before they can actually picture your face as they're writing it.
Hmm.
You're now they can see you, and yeah, they can. I don't know. I feel like I'm picturing those people who just sit at home, and I don't even know who these people are. Like, how do you even have time? Why do you care? Why are you even following? I just don't
Oh, exactly.
understand.
Yeah. But I will say, like, when stuff goes viral, air quotes, that means that more people see it that don't follow me. And so
True.
that's when I do notice people will be like, oh, that's not how you raise kids. Like, you shouldn't sleep train them, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, if these people don't know me, that's just fine.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the overwhelmingly positive comments, I think maybe also outweighs those like 1 out of 5, negative.
Yeah. Well, and then I mean, I I hope you didn't get too much, if any, negativity on this, but part of what really prompted me to, I mean, I've followed you for a while now, but seeing your posts about deciding to no longer be a full-time stay-at-home mom, and just the there I said it aspect. I mean, talk to me about that. How did you get to that point? What were you feeling? What we were going through?
So I guess this last year, I've really been trying my best at like all of us are,
Mm-hmm.
just staying home, doing nothing, like it, just trying my best, and over these last couple months, I told my husband, I was like, I need more. Like, I'm losing it. I can feel me losing it. I'm just not like this day in and day out. Like, I literally am just waiting for my husband to come home, and then like because that's the only like adult interaction I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting, and it's just not cutting it for me. I feel a little crazy. So I told my husband that I wanted to start working like part time, and we have like this little agency that we're kind of building. And so I do graphic design, and I do that 2 days a week now. That's how we started the nanny,
Okay.
because I also have a hard time like letting go of my kids, like a lot of moms do.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I need a break, it's still hard. So we get the nanny 2 days a week, and that's also what kind of pushed me even further. Like, I'm so much of a better mom at the end of those days. I'm genuinely so excited to see my kids. I have like this love and like excitement that I was missing,
Yeah,
like
you miss them.
yeah, and like to see their faces. They're excited to see me because after a year straight, well, 3.5 years straight for my oldest, of seeing me
Mm-hmm.
every single day of his life. Like, he's got to be tired of looking at me too.
Yeah, I know. I keep saying that about my kids too.
Yeah, like, it's just
They want to see
some,
other kids. They want to
yeah,
do things that we can't facilitate in our own homes.
for sure. And so I one day went to my husband. He's sitting at the computer on a non-nanny day, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. He's like, be more specific. Because I had probably a crazy look come across my face, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm so impatient. It's just, ugh. And he's like, okay. I'm like, we have to look into this daycare, because I've been toying with the idea, because of a nanny is a little more expensive than a daycare. And especially
Hmm.
for many days a week, we were toying around with the idea of throwing in one extra day for me. And I was like, you know what? It's still not going to be enough,
Yeah.
like that's still 4 days a week that I have them all day. It's the same, it's like, that's still a
Yeah.
lot of days
Yeah.
to
Have
do
they
stuff.
started yet?
No, actually, they start June 14th,
Okay.
which is the day before my birthday. So
Oh my gosh. Go wild.
yeah, right. So I'm hoping like June 14th, okay, it's going to be kind of like adjustment. And then by the 15th, hopefully I could really enjoy myself.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious how you feel once they start because I had a nanny for a couple of weeks this past year and I would go upstairs and it's, I don't know if you feel this way, but I just, it was hard for me even just being under the same roof still. Knowing
Hmm.
that I'm not meant to be caring for them right now helped so much. But
Hmm.
being upstairs, I could hear the screams, I could hear the yelling, I could hear the, every now and then I could hear my daughter trying to tell her something that she wanted and knowing what it is that she
Oh,
wanted, but
yeah.
the nanny not understanding her yet or whatnot. And now my daughter's been going to school 2 hours a day in the mornings and I still have my son, but it's just quiet.
Hmm.
And so I'm
Yeah.
curious how you feel once they actually start and are out of the house because nannies can be wonderful and helpful and no knock. I
Yeah. Yeah.
personally now feel like I'd much rather them out of the house in a separate environment from me, especially since the work I do is at home. I'm not going to an office, so
Hmm.
it makes a big difference.
Yeah. And I'll still be working from home too. It
Yeah.
just, my kids won't be here anymore.
Yeah. Was that
So,
the
and
first time that you and your husband had a conversation like that, or was he aware that things were kind of heading downward?
I think that he kind of knew because, like, I was running out of time on those 2 days a week to get the things done. Like, it was kind of like two things were happening at the same time. It was like my need and want, and also like the need and want out of work. Like, I needed
Mm,
more time. The kids need more as well. Like, mentally,
mm-hmm.
they need more. So it was kind of just, it felt like the right time.
Okay. I guess I'm wondering if it was like, oh, where did this come from? Or it was just
Oh,
like, got it, noted. Like I've
no,
seen it coming, honey. you know.
yeah, no, he because we like kind of talked about daycare a little bit. He was like 110% already on it as soon as I said it. He's really he's wonderful in the sense that when I feel something strongly, he's like, okay, great, we'll do that.
That's really nice. That's really
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you always know that about him, or is that something I'm thinking of, like your marriage changes when you have kids, right? And
Yeah.
so I feel like in a lot of ways, our marriage wasn't pushed or tested in ways that it ever had been before we had kids. And you find things out and sounds like in your experience and I'll just say if my husband listens to this in mine too that it's for the better, but
Yeah.
you get pushed and I'm just was that always like the basis of your relationship or was this just like, yep, you know what, you're proving exactly who I thought you were?
Yeah, he has always been really understanding and easygoing, and I think that's why we get along so well. You know, the yin and the yang. He's very much the ice, and I'm very much the fire. You know, he there was his best friend at our wedding said that he'll never have to make another decision ever again in his life.
And he's just fine with that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, he's totally cool with it, and the whole room laughed. So everyone that knows me knows that that's kind of how I am.
Yeah. 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 Well, and you mentioned in that blog post about um just reaching the breaking point, the breaks were
Mhm.
not enough, and you actually called it what you thought to be self-diagnosed delayed
Mhm.
postpartum depression, and you didn't mean that flippantly, correct?
Right, like I legit was like losing my appetite, like just losing all like sense of myself as well. And again, like this last year, it has a lot to do with it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not sure it would have pushed me so quickly had we been having all the same play dates every single day. You
Mm,
know, it kind of was really getting to me, and I just felt not empty,
yeah.
but missing, like just not enjoying. I wasn't present. Like it's just
Hmm.
so hard to describe
Yeah.
how it felt, but I'm like, something is off, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And it wasn't always that way. That's the thing. That's why I felt like it was like a delayed postpartum depression, because it's like I didn't have this feeling any other time.
Hmm. Yeah. I have a really hard time describing it in a way that does it justice because I can hear your struggle in even trying to describe it to me, someone who
Hmm.
knows what it feels like. And, I can put myself, gosh, I can put myself, not, it's not so bad this week, but like
Yeah.
not too long ago, there were days where I would get my kids in bed. If my husband helped, if he was home, great. If he wasn't, nothing changed. We would do it together, or I'd do it on my own. And I would just have this instinct to get in bed.
Yeah.
I didn't care if I ate things. I didn't care what if we watched TV. I mean, things that would normally I would look forward to. I I just didn't. I just wanted to get in bed, and
Yeah.
it's really hard to describe. Like I said, in a way that does it justice, because my husband, he can't fully understand, but I can imagine he's looking at me like, well, just get up, you know.
Right. Yeah. But it's like you can't, you feel heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think it is an empty sort of just blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've talked about anxiety too. I mean, how does that manifest for you? What does that look like?
So I definitely had also, air quotes, self-diagnosed
Hmm.
postpartum anxiety, because I didn't know that that was like a thing.
Yeah.
I've heard about postpartum depression. Never once did anyone talk about PPA. And I was like, PPA? Somebody asked me online after I had my second child if I had PPA. I'm like, shut the front door. I had postpartum anxiety this whole time. I could have gotten help.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so with my first, everything was so rigid. Naps, like if things didn't go just as planned, I came unglued, like that something was going to happen to my kid. Like he wasn't going to sleep and he wasn't going to eat. Like he had to eat at 6 o'clock and he had to be in bed by 12 o'clock. Like I would rush through lunch. Like if I was out, at a restaurant, like I have to go. Like it's time for his nap. Like
Hmm.
I could not break away from it, because I kept trying to explain it to my husband, because he didn't care, what time it was, what time nap, what time
Right.
was. And I would tell him, I'm like, it's the only thing that when I can expect what's going to happen, I feel prepared.
Mm.
Like when our whole day gets messed up, like I don't know what to do anymore. And I was at the time, my husband worked all the time. I'm by myself. So I'm like, I need this sort of schedule so that I can get through the day
Yeah.
without like having a nervous breakdown.
You need to know when the breaks are coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And especially with the anxiety, like I needed the break. I needed him to nap. I needed him to nap well as well. Not like no 30-minute naps for me, because those days I was not great.
Did he comply?
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
good. That's good.
Yeah, because I got a little crazy there. Like everything felt like life or death with me. Like I would tell him I didn't want my son to go swimming at this party. He was little,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't want to go in the pool because I just got all dressed up to go to a party. And so I'm like, I couldn't relinquish that, like,
Control.
to let my husband take him in the pool. Like I just couldn't. And it was because of my anxiety. I'm like, he's going to drown. He's going to die. Like every time.
Yeah. No, I
And
mean, yeah, it's
I'm
it's
laughing
real.
because it sounds, a little silly to me now because I'm over it. That my postpartum anxiety is gone. And for some reason right around the time of my second child, but that's a whole other story. But I postpartum anxiety was really hard on our relationship as well. Like him not knowing what was going to like trigger me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think especially like you said, not even knowing that it's a thing. I
Yeah.
remember after my first was born, I definitely had PPD, PPA, whatever, all these acronyms. I had them all. But I had no idea. To me, postpartum depression was, I don't know if you're going to, this is just a reference I have, but to me, it was just always this thing that Brooke Shields back in the day was so brave for talking about. Like everyone made a big deal. I don't know why this is what stuck out in my head, but and hers was very intense, if I recall correctly. And I just didn't realize there could be nuances, there could be levels. And I just thought, well, this is what motherhood is like. It's stressful, it's tiring, it's scary, and I guess this is just what this is now.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I know. And it's like we suffer through so much that we think like that the suffering is normal.
Yeah.
Because being a mom is hard.
Yeah. When did you feel like you could recognize that it was done? You were past it. I mean, especially, not seeking therapy, not seeking help in that direct way. I mean, I'm sure you had coping mechanisms, which I'm curious about as well. But how did you, or just like, I don't feel like I'm through it. And so that's part of why I'm asking. Cause I'm like, I'm waiting for that moment. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, you're good now, honey. Like I'm waiting for it,
The anxiety part, I kept attributing to having, after I had a second child, I thought that it was like literally second baby magic. Like I thought something had changed. I thought that like I was calmer. Like I know that this is like what happens when you have a second baby, but I just thought that like it like happened so well for me that and this is before I even knew again what postpartum anxiety was. And it wasn't until like another 6 months later that I heard about it. And I was like, that's me. That's the reason why my second child was so much easier on me, is because I didn't have postpartum anxiety.
Right. Oh.
Okay, that makes so much sense now.
Yeah.
And like this feeling of like actually being able to enjoy my son as a baby, which I know, again, subsequent children, that happens, right? But I just thought that that's what was happening to me. And it was only much later that I realized that I just literally had postpartum anxiety. And the first time was really hard because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. You've written before that with each child, the mother is reborn. And I really resonated with that because I had a very similar experience with my second, and I just felt like a completely different mom.
Yeah.
Me
too. Yeah. Like total difference. And I think it kind of shows in my kids as well.
How do you mean? Because I think it's definitely possible, but I'm curious how you mean.
So my second child is he's so happy and so
Mm,
not a fear in the world. And this is just surface level stuff, you know.
right.
My first child is really cautious.
Yeah.
He's a little more apprehensive, you know. And again, that's who I was as a mom. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's just a mirror of like their
Yeah.
first couple years of life.
Yeah. I'm laughing because my kids are the same, and our kids are almost to the month the same age, and
Yeah.
my older one is timid and conscientious and cautious, and yeah, my son, he doesn't care about anything. He'll climb on anything, he'll run up
Yeah.
anything, he throws his body everywhere, like, and he's the
Yeah.
happiest baby I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah. We must have the same kids. I'm just convinced at
I
this
think we
point.
do, because and it's funny that you said mirroring, because when I really was in the really deepest part of of the depression this year, my husband said to me, I feel like you're kind of playing favorites with the kids. And I'm like, you know what it is, really? It's that my son is just my joy. He's my sunshine. And my daughter is like looking at a mirror. And
Hmm.
when I face her, I have to face myself, and I can't handle myself right now,
Yeah.
because she was responding the most to me not being myself.
Hmm.
I think
Well,
outside of
yeah, just
me,
like
yeah,
displaying those like personality
yes,
traits that you're like,
yes,
there they are.
yep, yep, there they are. Oh, okay, I recognize that one.
And
Like,
also, like when she acts out like that, like when my oldest does too, it triggers me.
totally.
I get like a little impatient and a little
Yep.
loud and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
That
and the
that
little one, like you said, literally has never met a stranger, will lick and kiss anything he can. He is just also this butterball of happiness, and I'm just so thankful that, I mean, that's all I need, right? Like I have my quiet, sweet one, and I have my crazy one.
yeah. Yeah, and I feel like the second baby for me almost healed some wounds that I had from the first go round.
Oh, definitely.
And
Same here.
yeah, you've written about that as well. I mean, it's so spot on.
Yeah, I feel like this is what motherhood was supposed to feel like for me, especially. Like I can enjoy the little things. I'm not counting down the minutes till nap time. Well, I still am, but like
Yeah,
not in the anxious way.
different. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, like I still want him to go to bed, boy, bye. But like I enjoy him. I can watch him in the bath and I'm not thinking about this looming bedtime or how much is he eating and drinking. Like it's just so, I'm so much more chill than the
Yeah,
first go around.
yeah. I mean, in what other ways do you see the difference in who you are as a mom? Where does it come out?
I feel like I'm more patient
Mm,
with him as well. Like
hmm.
he wants to run around and not put a diaper on for a hot second. That's cool.
Yeah,
I don't care.
air it out.
Yeah, like it's just I think it goes back to like that schedule and that time. Like, yeah, I still want him at nap time to go to sleep at like 12 o'clock, but give or take an hour, I'm okay. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna come apart.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, and he was little too, and if he would take a short nap, I'm like, okay, cool. You'll just take another nap in like an hour. No big deal. Like
Yeah,
that was very freeing for me to actually feel that way because my first a short nap was like the death of me, literally.
I know. Yeah.
And if he didn't go to bed at 7 o'clock, like if we were out, I also just I would almost like not sleep because I was so worried about him waking up. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was crazy. And then I'm
Mm-hmm.
tired. And then, you know, it's just this vicious circle.
Yeah.
But with my little one, like we were at my mom's house tonight for dinner and it was 7 o'clock, which is usually the time he goes to sleep. I didn't even know that it was 7 o'clock. And I'm still at my mom's house playing with the
Mm-hmm.
kids and making a hot mess of her house instead of mine.
Right.
And someone mentioned the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you mentioned earlier the mom gang. I mean, I is that a lot of how you think you coped and sort of got through it? Because I don't know how you did, to be honest.
Yeah, I will say that I am so fortunate that I have a really close group of like best friends who have kids, but we were not best friends before we had kids. This was like a new gang. We found each other after we shedded blood. This new warrior of us, like anyway, so yeah, I feel like because of the distractions, like we all were on the same schedule. So,
Mm,
we all had to be home at the same time.
mm-hmm.
So we'd all be ready to go at the same time. Like
That's
it was
nice.
really nice.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. And I even talk about it with my Grammy, I'm like, she's like, you are lucky to have those girls because I had nobody. She's like, I
Mm,
had no friends to talk about like food recipes, how long they're
right.
sleeping, it's just these little bits of the conversation that are huge that you don't realize you have until you don't have it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like you must get some of that now from your account, from your platform. I mean,
Oh
that's
my
a
gosh.
whole community that right there.
Yeah, the things people say to me are the nicest things. Like, for example, I got my hair done today and I posted a picture of it and they're like, oh my gosh, you're just so gorgeous. Like, how sweet. Thank you so much. Like, that's totally, the hair
Tell
is
me
like half
more.
covering, right? The hair is like covering my face, but I love you forever for saying that.
I think we know what your love language is, huh?
Yeah, but it's like, and it goes back to also like my food stories that I share. And they're like,
Mm,
thank you so much for posting this. And I was terrified, I'm not going to lie, about posting what I feed my kids because I've changed. I thought that I was going to be this like organic mom that I am not. I'm not this baked chicken and roasted vegetable kind of mom that I thought I was going to be. I am a microwave meatballs and mac and cheese, Paw Patrol mac and cheese kind of a mom.
yeah.
And my firstborn is really picky on food as well. And so anyways, I started posting these stories on Instagram and I was worried about what people would say, but they all have told me like day in and day out, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I feed my kids the same. You make me feel normal. Like I used to have a lot of guilt about
Yeah.
this. I no longer have it. I'm like in them doing that, it also reminds me that I'm not doing so bad either.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's
I
reassuring.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, we're all doing the same thing. And now all of a sudden it's like we share what our kids will eat. They give me other ideas that I go
Hmm.
and try.
Yeah. I mean, in this context, it is such a beautiful, positive thing. But as you're talking, it's also just kind of making me sad. I mean, here we are. Like, what have we set up as a society for moms that just a woman of two, a mom of two kids posting chicken nuggets on her Instagram story is what is making another mom feel reassured and validated and that she's doing okay.
Right.
I mean,
Like
it's horrible.
as it's not like we are I don't know robbing a bank, so to speak.
Mm, yeah.
We're feeding our kids food and not to mention these chicken nuggets have hidden vegetables in them.
Right. Right. I know. I know. No one can just buy regular chicken nuggets. They're like broccoli cauliflower nuggets. I actually
They're
gave
pretty
my
gross.
kid pizza tonight and it was a broccoli crust. So there you go.
Exactly. This is what we have to resort to. So the mom guilt, I mean, I don't know what we've done to get to this point where the pressure to be this perfect mom is so overwhelming. I felt it. I still feel it and I have to like remind myself like I'm doing the best I can. And that's why I have my Instagram because when I feel it, I write about it because I know that I am not the only one
Yeah.
suffering. Like
Yeah.
the food thing. that was just one thing that I was definitely like a trigger for me. And now I feel like it's some form of therapy. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't bother me anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, your mission is to normalize motherhood, and I don't know why we got so. I don't know if we ever were on track. I obviously didn't have experience as a mother until now, but
Hmm.
I appreciate that mission. But I also
Hmm.
question why it even has to be a thing.
I know.
You know? I mean,
I feel like there's a lot of like this social media has definitely taken it up a notch when
mm,
it comes to these perfect little bento boxes where the kids eat the whole
yes.
thing. And
Yes.
I'm like, my
Yes.
child would never touch a green noodle.
I know.
I don't care what I put on it.
I know.
But it's just like, okay, so we see that picture, right? And it's like ingrained in our brain. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still thinking about it. This one bento box, like, this is a real picture in my brain. And I'm like, that pressure to like, I would love to do that, but can I?
Yeah.
No. Will my kids? Definitely not.
Yeah. And I find that when I have moments where I want to push to be the bento box, I
Hmm.
push and then guaranteed it doesn't work out, and then the only one suffering is me.
Yeah, you're so heartbroken.
I'm heartbroken. I'm frustrated. I'm thinking of when I tried to do Easter eggs with my kids this year. My daughter's 3. Like, this is like, I don't know what I was thinking, but I set it all up. I'm all ready, and she didn't want to leave the eggs in long enough for them to actually die. That I'm worried about the dye spilling. Then they got the stickers, and she doesn't want to do like, I was losing my mind. I finally looked at her, and I'm like thinking to myself, you're taking every ounce of fun out of this for her and for you. Chill out.
Yeah,
But I
I
don't.
know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean it. I don't know. Like, I just keep thinking, like, how do we fix this? How do we make this better for new moms, expecting moms, our kids?
I know. I know. I just think that there's this disconnect. Like the people before they have kids think that they're gonna be or do better, and then they have kids and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
snap.
yeah,
Here we are again."
yeah.
And then they don't talk to each other. Like the people who don't have kids, right? They see people with kids and they're like, Psh, I can do that and better, right? Or they just don't communicate like the hardships, or
Mm-hmm.
there's like just this misconception that they can do better, right? That's why our generations keep having kids. They keep trying.
Tricked ya.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you have
I
people
feel
follow
like
you that are not mothers?
I will say that there has been some people who told me like, I'm not a mom yet, but I love your account. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool, because some people tell me that I scare them away from having kids.
Really?
Yeah, I've had that comment.
I mean, I guess it's easier for me to respond to that because I have kids, but I mean, everything that you do, it has that comedic aspect to it, though. I'm surprised that that someone would actually say that.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, obviously there's other accounts where I totally get it. Like mine, I mean, yeah. Oh, well, here's the other thing. Like we were talking about the where people don't really know me. So on TikTok, I don't really have that much of a following, and there you really don't, your followers aren't who see your stuff. Like if you get on the For
The
You
for you,
page,
yeah.
these people don't know who I am. So I'll have people comment on there like, "Oh, this is wrong," and I look at the profile and they don't have kids. I'm like,
Right.
you just don't know yet.
Yeah.
First of all, you don't know me, and you also don't know. You're not a parent. Like
Mhm.
you can't have that opinion yet.
Mhm. Yeah, I find that I mean, I was in a certain group of friends that I have. I was the first to have kids, and I said to them, if you want to know, ask, but know that I'm going to tell you the real answer. And at a certain point, I realized it really doesn't matter how I answer to some extent because they just have to go through it to really know,
Yeah,
you
because
know?
I definitely didn't think it was going to be this hard. I didn't think
No.
it was going to be this draining. I didn't think I was going to evolve a whole like persona out of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is
Yeah.
like my coping mechanism, I guess, the more I think about it. The thing is that like if it was just sunshine and rainbows, like
That's
we
what it
would
was.
have nothing to talk about.
Yeah. Well, there are those people that are online and only talk about it as if it's sunshine and roses.
Right.
I don't know what to do with them because I don't
And
want to hate them. I don't want to not like them. They're doing their thing, but it's hard for me to watch.
yeah, I definitely abide by those rules. Like if something doesn't make you feel good, like unfollow,
Mm,
because I am not like some of those picture perfect like family mother daughter things like I eat that up. It's adorable. But it's never going to be me.
yeah. Yeah.
And I think I just have to like accept that. Like I have a hard enough time getting it's neither both of us. Like it's either my kids look great and I look like a train wreck or my kids look like literally like garbage children and I look somewhat decent for the day. That was today.
Yeah, well, when they're with their grandparents, it's like there's no rules. It's just like, okay, they're
Yeah.
alive and happy, you know?
He literally had like um those bears, the graham cracker bear thingies,
Mm-hmm.
like imprints all over his shirt, just like spit up bears,
Oh my God.
like still whole. I'm like, how does this happen?
Oh my
It's okay.
goodness.
But yeah, total hot mess. And I was like, my hair was done, so I felt like a movie star for the day.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anyways, but
I've had to purge here and there. I think particularly immediately postpartum, I remember this isn't such a great example, but I
mm-hmm.
always remember it. After I had my daughter, my oldest, within the same month that Jessica Alba had her youngest.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, you know, I don't think I left the house for 6 weeks after I had my daughter. And in like 3 weeks, she was working out at work, this and that. And I'm like telling myself, she has night nannies. She has 45
She
day
has help.
nannies. She
Yeah.
has a chef. She has a trainer. She has a housekeeper. Like, but I did. I just went through it and I was like, this, love you, Jessica. But I just, at that time, I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I think I totally understand that. I too, especially with like people who just like quote unquote bounce back. And I'm like, it's just last, I'm looking at these pictures in a diaper, like gushing blood. Like,
I know.
no, like this is not like this women do not have to bounce back. Like it's just like and the ones that do, yeah, they probably have a lot of freaking help.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so because I'm what are our kids like 15 months now? I'm not bounced anywhere. I am
Yeah,
just
right.
standing still right where I was when the kid came out. I have not bounced back for I'm just like right there.
Yeah, I know people ask me like about working out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna punish myself
Yeah.
any more than I already am.
Yeah, I don't know. I got into it for a while and then, I go through phases because I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted and then I just got defeated.
Yeah, I honestly don't think I can work out for longer than 3 months at a time. Like I just can't. I can't do it longer than that. I'm like, all right, I did 3 months. That's it. I'm good to go for the next year.
Yeah. Has anything surprised you about your experience with Fruits of Motherhood and the community you've built?
I would say that I felt like pressure to still be like within myself to put like my best face forward, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
like still look normal
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
like it's still a picture of me on the internet, right? So, but what I have noticed is that even if I don't look my best, like just no makeup, like people still respond to it because they're not following me for a pretty face. You know, they're not following me for like perfect hair or perfect matching outfit. Like they're following me for like what I have to say or the funny for the laughs mostly.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
and I'm sure the people scrolling are not with makeup and not with pretty hair and
right. And I think that's like something that if you would have told me before I started this, that like I would be putting no makeup on and putting myself in front of 241,000 people, like I would not have believed you.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it freeing?
Like it is, because I will tell you, I would never, even after my first baby, like when I would take him for a walk around the neighborhood, I would put under eye concealer on because I didn't want to look like a hot mess. Like this person to who I've become okay with, like who I am, it took time. It took a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't expect social media to be okay with it either.
Yeah. I'm so glad though that it, I mean, I was about to say I'm so glad that social media is, but it really shouldn't matter, truthfully. It should just be more about you. But I see, I've definitely, I don't know if I've so much happily accepted that I am just this person that is okay with looking a certain way when I go out in public now or on my social media. I mean, to some extent I am, but I think it more just happened. And I do still feel like I want to get back a little bit to caring.
And of course, like I today, like put on some makeup, like put on my clothes, you know, like that's the thing is like when you want to, that's different than like the feeling that you have to.
Yes, that's true. I'm glad you clarified that because that's clicking more for me now. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also when it comes to being like the evolution of a mom, like you have to go out like a hot mess. Like you can't put the baby down to take a shower and blow dry your hair. I mean, you can, some people do. Let me backtrack, but like some moms, most of us can't.
Yeah.
And that's like the evolution of like this. I feel like moms do become more okay with like themselves because of it, because they don't have the time to get ready all the time. And play date is in 5 minutes, let's go.
Right. And it's just not and I think I think you hit it on the head with the want versus the need, because even on the days where I might have the time, I don't want to.
Right. And that's totally okay.
You know, like, I'm just tired. I'm like, if I have 20 minutes, I don't usually want to spend it blow drying my hair.
Right. And to get back in bed, like, especially this last year, like, who's going to get ready? I'm not going to put makeup on to get back in my white sheet bed.
I know. I was almost feeling like it was like a waste of product, too. Like, I'm spending good money on this.
Oh, and that's, also funny. Like, I haven't bought new makeup in, like, a year.
Yeah. No, me either.
Yeah.
I did invest in some skincare that, of course, I haven't really done with any sort of consistency, but I'm trying.
I just started this is like, for me, this is my self-care. I like literally like a 4 or 5 step like skincare, because I just still have pimples. I have adult acne.
Oh, I saw you post about this. This was like, you were like, this works.
Yeah, and I watched a TikTok, which is how I get all my information these days.
It was
like all these acids. Yeah, I learned so much. And I was like, okay, cool. I bought all the stuff and I've been using it every single day for a month. And like the gym, I can't do many things every single day of my life, but this, I'm sticking to it, not only because I have a wedding this weekend, but because I want to know if it works. And honestly, I see a huge difference in my skin, which I didn't dream would ever
I'm so
happen.
happy for you.
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of acids. I don't even know.
Bunch of acids. But I'm laughing because I've probably seen all the same TikTok videos, and I have 2 acids, something or other, in my bathroom. The Ordinary, something or other.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Oh yeah, I have it all. Got it all. We got a little
Yeah,
stash going.
the hard part is actually using it.
I know. I just, you know what? I went like full throttle when I first got it, and my
Yeah.
skin freaked out. So then I was like, okay, that was dumb.
Oh.
Pull it
Hmm.
back.
And
And
then yeah,
then,
too far.
yeah, pulling it back turned into, meh, we'll just do the night cream.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. I have like oily skin too, so I'm terrified of like creams.
Mm.
Terrified.
You have a wedding. Will this be the first big social engagement that you're going to?
You know, ironically, my mom got married this year and my best friend is getting married this year.
Oh, wow.
So I did one before, and you know, we all wore masks and it was outdoors. This one is definitely, since the social aspect of life is like trying to come back. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm also the maid of honor.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm obviously super excited, but still a little like nervous. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was asking because I went to a my first, really social interaction in a while, and it was without kids, and it was this week. It was one of those weeks where it was right before my period, so I was a bundle of joy, but
oh yeah.
I had such social anxiety that I have never in my life had. I've been a bartender, I've worked retail. I used to
Hmm.
go out by myself and just meet people, and I was in a room full of people that I've known for, I don't know, 12 years without my
Uh-huh.
kids, ready to have a good time, and I couldn't even, I felt like I couldn't even put sentences together. It was so bizarre.
Yeah, I know what you mean because when we first started seeing like my mom friends again, like after this happened, which was like months
Hmm.
of being inside, I couldn't even like talk to them. I'm like,
Yeah,
these women know every thought, again, like my deepest secrets, and I can't even make a sentence.
I know. I know. I feel like I've really changed throughout all of this COVID. And I think too, just like we were talking about having another kid and that whole thing. Do
Mhm.
you feel like what are the aspects you would say have changed probably the most about you in the last year?
I think like I can say no much easier.
I
I've had a lot
love
of
that.
practice. Yeah, because like things that maybe my family, like what we deem safe and what we're doing for us is different. That looks
Hmm.
different for everyone, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And so being just like that advocate for our safety is new for me.
Yeah.
You know, I've never had to exercise that before. So now it's always like, no, we will not be attending, or yes, we can, you know?
Yeah. And it spills over into other areas, you're saying, of the ability to just put the boundary
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, like whether or not it's just we're not going to do that. That doesn't work for us.
That's
And
awesome.
honestly, I think also it doesn't require an explanation anymore. Like
Yeah.
we just say no, thank you, and
Hmm.
I'm not going to tell you 100 reasons why, like I probably would have before.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely relate. And
Hmm.
what do you see what do you see as the future of Fruits of Motherhood? Where is it going? Where do you want to take it? Where are you in 5 years, 10 years?
I If they want to give me a talk show, I'll have a talk show.
Hmm.
I
Don't
mean,
laugh. I'm waiting to see you on some screen somewhere.
I know, right? Like what is even the cool place to be? Like what screen? I don't even know anymore.
Need
What's
like a
TV?
Netflix
Okay.
special.
Yeah, I just have to figure out my goal and then like work towards it. But I don't know. I just really love this idea of like um talking to specialists about aspects of motherhood because I know there's a like information overload on motherhood stuff, right? Like
Hmm.
how to feed your baby, how to not feed your baby, how to get them to sleep, how not to get them to sleep. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, if I can say like certain things like I agree with and people already agree with me as like a
They trust you.
person, right? Exactly. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to explain this. They trust me.
They just follow me and do what I
I'm
no
like,
no
yeah.
no they
Exactly. So
trust
they'll
you. Yeah.
exactly. So then like I can talk to these experts about what they do, and I trust their opinions, and it
Mm-hmm.
becomes like just to help. I just want moms like, okay, I want that first year of life to not feel like it felt for you, for me, for
Yeah.
so many moms. Like it doesn't have to feel that way.
Yeah.
Like accepting help doesn't make you a bad mom. Like I wish someone would have just like beat me in the head with that.
Why is that so hard for us? Like,
I
it's
don't
hard. I
know.
know it is, but it
Yeah.
drives me nuts thinking about why. Like, where did that come from? Where did we get this idea that we had to be these superhuman beings?
I know, and I just don't know how else to like you want like I wanted to do it, I think. Like I wanted to do it
Yeah, you're
all.
right. You're right. Yeah.
That's the sick part.
Yes, it is. Yes, yes, it is.
Like but it's just you don't have to. You don't have to kill yourself. Like I tell my husband now, he's like overwhelmed with work. I'm like, you don't have to kill yourself. Like
Mm,
you don't have to.
yeah.
So I would love for I don't know, maybe I get a talk show about that first year of motherhood and all these experts can because I don't have like expert advice. I just am like a loud mom.
We need so many loud moms out there. We really do. So, like, I'm laughing with you, but I'm really like, yeah, yeah, be a loud mom. Go ahead, do it. Do you think, though, sometimes I wonder, do you think it's enough that just the moms are talking about it, though?
No, it's like no, absolutely no.
Right?
It has to be from also a male point of view
I
because
know.
it's not just us. Like they what a husband is today is not what it was 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like things are changing in my house. Like my husband cooks and he cleans as well.
Mm.
In
Good
some
for you.
households that's like not a thing, but
Yeah.
it has to like what we wear, the hats we wear every single day, it does feel like we are superhuman because the things that we do is heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's exhausting and we need help and like we shouldn't have to like beg for it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think finding a partner, I know some women are super lucky and they like this is already happening for them, but finding a partner to who can also identify like these struggles in motherhood and like how they can contribute because as moms we hire help, right, to
Mm-hmm.
do these things when there are some perfectly capable human beings under our roof that can probably do those things too, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. It used to be very important to me that my husband understand and get it. And
Mm-hmm.
I've learned now that until he's actually in the exact shoes that I'm in, doing it day in and day out, for as long as I'm doing it, it's actually not entirely possible for him to get it. So for I guess I made the switch from kind of wanting to like shake his shoulders like, "Why don't you get it? I need you to understand." To just,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I know you're not always going to completely understand, but I just need you to support and trust me enough to know that when I'm saying it's too much or when I'm asking you for help, it's because I've literally contemplated every other option possible before
Yeah.
coming to you.
Yeah.
I mean, that in
Yeah.
itself is problematic, but my
I know.
point is that
But
it's
I've been there. I've
yeah.
been there. I like sometimes my husband will like ask me another question about like why I want to do something a certain way. I'm like, I have already overthought this for weeks.
Right. 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 Right.
Weeks.
Ship has sailed on the contemplation. It's the doing time now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. 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 And I also think not just men or spouses or partners, but I always go to, corporations, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
all
Like
of it. It goes all the way up because what women are expected to do. I have a friend who had a baby not too long ago, and she's got a high pressure job in finance, and the hours she's putting in now with a newborn and the pressure and all of that. I mean, my heart breaks for her because all of her superiors that I know of, I might be speaking out a little bit out of turn, but to my understanding, they're men, and they just don't get it. And like I said, they might not have to get it, but they have to understand that they're not going to get it.
Well, you know what? I think like, especially in the US, this maternity leave, no paternity leave
I know.
it's a little maddening because that's why they're so disconnected, because they don't see it for like many, 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 many days in a row. And those husbands that get to stay home, or partners, that for like an extended period of time, like they see it.
Mm-hmm.
They see what really happens,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Because, go ahead.
I'm first to say, like, when it comes to being a mom, like obviously moms do a lot of stuff. I'm not expecting a partner to take 50% of this to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like like you're saying, like for them to know and respect, I guess, what a mom goes through. It's almost downplayed. Like, they say maternity leave is like a vacation. Like,
oh my God,
whoa,
I know.
You want to come over here and bleed like you're dumping paint buckets into a diaper and then take care of a screaming human while you haven't had any food yet yourself? Like, let me know. Does that sound like a vacation to you?
I know. Not to mention when you have then the toddler running around thinking you're fine and everything's normal, and you have to try to placate them as well.
Yeah, like, oh my God, Blippi lived in our house. I tell moms all the time, they're like, how did you do it? I'm like, screen time.
Yeah.
He watched so much Blippi.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, you have to do what you got to do. I mean, that's a whole other thing. We can probably do another hour on screen time, but
I know
it's such a hot button topic too.
I know. And again, like I have people say these comments like on Instagram about it, and they'll say like, oh yeah, I'm just going to fry my kids' brains, whatever, like some kind of negative comment. And I go and look, they're not a parent.
Right. I know.
I'm like, you just wait, sweetheart.
Yep. I know, but you can't even say that. It's not even worth it.
No. I actually don't even rebuttal to people who say things. Like, for the most part, I just let them say what they want, because I'm not going to change their mind.
Yeah.
I realize that. And I think that has taken also a couple of years to get to, because people on the internet are not fighting. They're not trying to have a intelligent, like,
right. Debate.
Like, exactly.
Yeah.
They're wanting to fight. So it's like those pretenses don't lend itself for good outcomes.
Yeah. Someone on the other side of their screen pissed them off and they're taking it out on you.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to change their mind. It's fine. They just can think that they're never going to let their kids watch TV, and maybe they won't. There are people who do that.
I know. I don't understand.
Me neither. And I never will be, but
I know. Well, I will say we've cut it down. It was not a lot, because I was that anxiety, crazy first time mom, where it was like, I actually used to put a sheet over the TV so that it wasn't, so much on her eyes. Because my husband insists on having these like oversized big screens. So I was very nervous about that. But anyway, then throughout the pandemic, having the baby, all of that, it went through like the point of, when are we not watching TV? And now I've reeled it back in a bit, because I'm just better. I was, how it is. You have a newborn and they got a nurse and they got to do all the things, and you just want the kid to be happy. Yeah.
And not hurting themselves. Yeah. I know, I get it. And I think
and
that's
you're
the
exhausted.
thing. Yeah, we go through those like ups and downs of like extreme TV time to like no TV time, you know, like not intentional, but like life changes, and we're this like, only 2 hours a day or whatever, but it's a rainy day, like, I know And mom has some work to do.
Right.
What do you
Right.
expect? Like,
Right.
we got to work from home and do it all, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's got to be TV involved.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. But Linda, is there anything that you would have asked yourself or wanted to talk about that I didn't mention?
If I could tell any mom, I mean, anything, like just just had a baby, is totally traumatized, like most of us can be, is that it won't always feel this way.
Hmm.
Like, it's gonna go up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
But that genuinely, like, this feeling of losing yourself or not sure what you're doing, it is traumatic, and you can accept that. Like, you can, it's okay to feel that way, because I
Yeah.
think that was one thing I was terrified of letting other people know, is that I was just traumatized and scared. And
Mm.
it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to have those feelings.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you a bad mom.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, that was so beautifully put. But I think, too, I think we're both proof of that.
Yeah.
You're proof of that at a much larger, higher level than I am at this moment. But a month ago, I wasn't even able to plug the mic in. So, it takes time, but I think when you get in the upswings, you got to take advantage of them if you can,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then I still have days where I just want to lay in bed. I'm not happy. Like, and
Right.
it's just a day.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like, I think, like, we get so caught up on being everything every single day, every minute of the day,
Mm-hmm.
like, have a day. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have a month.
I know. It seems so simple, but it's really hard in the moment. And I think moms just have to hear it over and over and over again.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's the whole point. Like, I reshare. This is like something I do kind of often, because a lot of people don't see everything you post, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
reshare stuff that really hit home with people. And
Yes.
for that same reason, like, even if they saw it before, I need to hear it again. I need
Yeah.
to see it again.
Or maybe they're at just a different phase themselves. Or I know
Yeah.
sometimes I scroll by things that I'm not ready to read yet,
Yeah, that makes
you
sense.
know?
Yeah.
So to see it again, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, I've seen that before, and you know what? Nope, still not ready. Or, or maybe it's like, yes, that's it, that hits perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how I felt with your post about not wanting to be, the full time gig at home anymore. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes it just hits you in that feels where it's like, oh, yep, mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
like, again, like, the response I got for that, like, if I had any doubt before then, I definitely don't anymore,
Oh,
because
I love that.
yeah, they really, like, I say this over and over again, like, my Instagram, like, I think it definitely does more for me than it does for anybody else,
Oh my
because
goodness, I just gotta chill. That's so
but
nice.
it's true, because the moms, like, they're so supportive, and like,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's just like, I'm lucky. I'm really lucky that the people who follow me, they're like the most down to earth moms I've ever met.
It's amazing. That's so
Yeah.
nice. Oh, I love that. I think that's a good place to leave it. Oh, I'm so happy for
Yeah.
you.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for doing this with me. I love talking to you, and I know a lot of women are gonna relate to what we're talking about here.
And thank you so much. We can do this anytime. You want to talk about screen time for an hour? I got you.
Okay, I'll probably take you up on that. So, all right, Linda, you have a great night. Thank you so much.
You too.
Were we too much? We really had a blast. And it was so nice for me to talk with someone who has kids who are exactly the same ages as mine. and to learn that her experience as a mom changed in very similar ways to mine. That first time mom gig is no joke, and while we all experience it differently, what you heard and what I'm comforted by is knowing that there are similarities. It was so refreshing to be able to share this experience with someone who would not judge me or misinterpret my words. We need more of this in motherhood. We need more women like Linda who are willing to talk about it all, to laugh about it. And it doesn't mean that we all need to share the same beliefs, but we all need to respect each other's beliefs and feel safe to discuss them. In addition to our beliefs, like I said, we're not all going to have the same experiences. But as women, as moms, we have to make it safe for each other to talk about it. And talk about the differences, talk about the similarities, all of it. You heard Linda talk about genuinely wanting to be there for what moms need. And she does this so well. Her videos, her raw written posts, her podcast, and certainly her blog resonate with me and so many women. You're going to hear me ask this and say it again and again, that moms, women, we can keep talking ourselves in circles about the issues and struggles we face, but what do we do for the next wave of moms, the next generation? How do we move on from this phase of motherhood that we're in, whatever phase you're in? Grapple with the next phase, but not forget what it was like before. We have to be there for the next round of moms. We have to continue to show up for them, even when we're past it. We have to advocate for ourselves, for moms, for women, in our workplaces, in our governments, in our schools, in our communities, in our doctor's offices, in our households, so that changes can be made so that someone like me, someone like Linda, maybe even someone like you, doesn't have to suffer that first year after baby the way Linda and I did. Now, I don't want it to seem as though I'm underestimating the power of women and moms simply being there for each other. This can mean so much. I've experienced this. I actually texted Linda a few weeks after our interview when I was having a particularly rough day with the kids. Because even though we're not really friends on a day-to-day basis, I just knew that she would know what to say. I knew she could meet me where I was in that moment because Linda, she's a mom's mom. She gets it, and she's not afraid or unwilling to share with you that she's been in that same moment that you're in now. It's a beautiful thing, and I thank her so much for being there for me directly and being there for all of us through her many platforms. Please go check her out if you haven't already, and thanks so much for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Sass Says is a production of Luann Nigara Inc. This podcast is meant to be educational and not meant to replace professional therapy or professional medical attention. To learn more about today's show and what's new in my world, head over to sasssays.com. Thanks so much. Talk later.